Hello and welcome to Anime Recapped. Today we'll be covering episodes 1 to 4 of the anime Bluelock. This is the first of 6 parts. Lay back and enjoy the recap. The anime begins with the final match of the national football tournament, which will change the future of the winning team as they will reach their goal of becoming professional athletes. In the last moments of the game, Isagi gets the ball from the grasp of the opposition team but avoids trying to make the goal by himself after remembering that football is not a one-man game. He passes the ball to his teammate who was in a better position than him, but his teammate, however, misses the shot. Since Isagi's team was already down 1-0, it was their last chance to change the game by moving into the extra time. On the other hand, the ball gets passed to the opposition's striker, Kira, who then slams it to the net, which ends up making them the winners. Isagi's whole team gets devastated by the loss of his team, while Kira was hoping to win the nationals with his team. His dreams of becoming a star striker for the national team and winning the World Cup were only getting out of his grasp. He keeps regretting his choice of passing the ball to his teammate since one more year was wasted in the process. The next day, Isagi receives a letter from Japan's National Sports Committee asking him to become a certified athlete. He meets Kira on the way, and after having a conversation with him, Isagi realized that Kira is great as a human being. After entering the facility, Kira notices that there are a lot of great players who are also wondering who called them into that place and why. Suddenly, a strange man named Ego Jinpachi introduces himself on the stage and explains that this is a facility called Bluelock where the 300 of all the players will compete to find out who is the best of them. When the point was to become the top striker in the world, Isagi was the first one to join and almost all the others joined with him. Isagi was appointed to the same room as Kira, which relieved both. Each of the players is assigned a number on their outfits, and Isagi was the 299th out of all of them. For the next 6 months their performance will be ranked, which will decide the top 5 of all of them. In the end, they will be registered as forwards for the U20 World Cup Japanese team, while the losing players will never get to play for Japan. As per rule, the first game begins with the lowest level player Igarashi, but for his lack of skills, he couldn't hit anyone at first. Even though Kunigami and Isagi got marked in the middle, the match ended up with Kira being eliminated by Isagi. Kira gets outraged on Isagi when the buzzer beeps, and he couldn't believe Isagi could do such a thing to him. Kira states the elimination was unfair because the given time was very low. But Ego then clears the misconceptions mentioned by him, revealing that both the venue and time are set accurately and kept related to the real-life situations. Ego declares that Kira was eliminated because of his own incompetence, and it was not Bachira's fault that he passed the ball to Isagi. Kira gets out of the place, giving Isagi the dirty eye, and even though the career of someone decent like Kira was ended, Isagi was feeling quite ecstatic. Ego announces that with the 11 players in each of the rooms, they were now each other's teammates and also each other's rivals. On the other hand, Japan's National Football Board was being briefed by Henri, and she is the one who proposed the Bluelock program since it was her lifelong dream to see Japan dominating the space of football globally. The board doesn't seem to be concerned about it much as long as they are making money off of football, but they promise to put the blame on her if she failed in her mission. Meanwhile, in the Bluelock facility, Isagi was completely overwhelmed by the abilities of his teammates since he was so average compared to the others. He couldn't sleep at night, so he and Bachira trained together in the field where they talked about each other's monsters inside them. Ego updated all their rankings since they were going to move to the next stage. As the new rules are explained, it is declared that the high-ranked players will get better facilities while the low-ranked players will face consequences. After all the players being divided into 5 groups, 2 of the teams will stay and the others will be removed from the facility. Somewhere else, a well-known player named Itachi gets interviewed on his return to Japan, where he reveals that he has no interest in domestic football and wants to head back to Europe immediately. But the scene changes for him as he hears about the Bluelock program, so he decides to stick back to see what it leads to. Back in the facility, Isagi gets selected to play as the striker for his team after winning rock, paper, scissors with his teammates. It was revealed that their first game is against Team X, and it will be 45 minutes long. When the game began, just as Ego had planned, all the players from Team Z and X both were battling against each other to be the top scorer of the team. None of them had any interest in winning the game whatsoever. When all the players swarm in one place battling for the ball, the top player of the Team X, Baru, takes the advantage and scores the first goal for his team. After seeing Baru in action, the whole Team X decides to support Baru and starts playing proper football. Unlike Team Z, 1-1 Baru and his teammates wreck Team Z's defense and end up scoring 5 goals even before the 42-minute mark. Bachira gets worn out after constantly running his legs all around the field and explains to Isagi that they need to score at least 1 goal to settle down. After strategizing for a while, they both do as they have planned before, but Baru decides to appear in the defense right before Isagi. To make the goal successful, Isagi had to pass the ball to Kunigami, who then made the goal from a fair distance. Yoichi then scolds Isagi for not giving him the ball, and Baru calls him useless for not being able to shoot and score the goal himself. The whole Team Z continues to argue about the whole incident when Chidri states that perhaps ego isn't right after all. Isagi interrupts and states his own theory about their game style, which gets approved by Ego himself since the other teams in the facility made the same mistake as them. While preparing for the next match, Team Z decides to get their heads straight and discuss their special abilities so they can use them to enhance their play style. While all the other players have one special skill or another, such as Yoichi, Kunigami, Bachira, and Inamura, but Isagi and Chidri have nothing to point out that they can contribute to the team. Kun understands the situation and explains the new technique that they can use to play. They all decided to take turns playing as the striker and find rhythm in their game, so they all started practicing by the rule. While having dinner, Isagi gets thanked by Kunigami for passing him the ball to score in the first match, and Kunigami then decides to share his stake with him since half of his goals credit goes to Isagi as well. It is revealed how achieving goals can grant the players the ability to enjoy luxury inside the facility. The next day, the game against Team Y arrives and the team is led by a renowned fierce striker named Okawa. Team Z was well prepared for the game this time, but however, Team Y seems to have a great defense this time after getting wrecked by Team V in the previous match. Even after using all their abilities against Team Y, Team Z was struggling to crack the defense, and suddenly, Nico from Team Y scopes out the area and passes the ball to Okawa according to their plan. Just when the defense of Team Z was overwhelmed, Okawa used the opportunity to use it as his advantage, which got him their first goal before the break. In the next half, Team Y decided to go full defense and even started passing among themselves to run down the clock. Kagamaru Jin decides to be the striker, which ends up gaining them their first corner with the help of Isagi's long pass. Getting their first chance to make a goal, Team Z decides to get all their players forward, but Isagi stays in the defense, which ends up gaining them their first goal in the match with the help of Kagamaru. Isagi realized that Nico was the one who was deciding the fate of Team Y, and without his help, the whole team was quite useless.